you getting yourself ready for our show?
Everybody, it's another Tuesday, a brand new week, a special magical 7-day window of goodness for you and for your fishing excitement, entertainment. Damn it! We got a great show for you guys. This week, we have lots of stuff to talk about. There's all sorts of tourney stuff that we need to cover right here. We got knockout information, we got the Jigs and Bigs tournament information, we got, you name it. There was some tomfoolery done everywhere. There's just things that need to be discussed, and we're going to get into the nitty-gritty and talk all about that. The big news story this week regarding safety on the water, and it had a very tragic end. We're going to talk about that and try and hammer home the point that we tried to make to you assholes last year. We're going to try and do that. And then we're going to talk about tourney cash efficiency for both anglers and influencers. That's coming up later in Just the Tip. You're going to want to hear all about that. And then the big news for this week for us is that some of the Jigs and Bigs fam, the Hookshead Hoodlum fam, there was a wedding. A combination of families came together this weekend. It's the one and only The Butcher. There were some nuptials. They're going to Texas for their honeymoon. And from what I understand, there is a guided trip on Lake Fork in the cards for the one and only groom. Guys, don't go too far. Get yourself something delicious to enjoy while you enjoy this freaking show. I got some crazy glasses on my face. We're going to discuss that in this whole intro, everything. You don't want to go too far. New shit has come to light. Let's just leave it at that. We'll see you guys in a bit. Shaga-laga. What a freaking week, man.
What the hell happened?
I don't know. It just kind of went off the rails, you know? I'll tell you what. This is the reality of what happened. We're going to go through, like, the only real productive fishing I had was today. So we're going to skip all the other bullshit. But this morning, when I got up, I hardly slept. I got like 2.5 hours of sleep all night long. It was rough. I got up and was just dragging ass. And I'm like, all right, get down to the water. I stopped to grab a bottle of water because I was just all dehydrated. I'm like, I'm going to grab some water. And I was like, I don't want to bring a coffee with me. Mainly because I didn't want to poop. I was like, I handled business, but I'm like, we're going to hold off on a coffee. I'll have one later today. And I picked up a Monster energy drink instead. And I figured it was not that like, oh, I need this. I got to, whatever. It was like, I'd rather have this in the car. A cup of coffee is going to get cold, and like, I'll leave this can in the car. If I need a little pick me up, say maybe 2-3 hours into the day, I can crack that can open and then, we'll be good to go. And this is what happened. And the jig heads are seeing it, but I am a new man, I am a brand new man, so it's something within me has been rewired. You know what I'm saying? In fact, I am highly considering changing out the Jigs and Bigs show open for something a little bit more in the Walmart demographic. This is a song from Nickelback that's going to be our new intro. Everybody, very excited. You know what's cool about this song?
It ended?
Yeah, it's over. No, the reason why I bring that up is that that is a perfect theme song for Sean's new method of calming down a bass while on the catchboard. That song we're going to retitle called Something in Your Butt. That's what we're going to call for you, Sean, just for you.
I'm making a face because I made it very clear last week that I was not the originator
you were not.
of fish sodomy.
No, you weren't.
I heard it
Yeah.
From two reputable sources in the bass fishing community.
That's where it all happens. That's where it starts.
No.
I learned it from watching you.
Yeah.
See what I mean? Anyway,
The fuck?
This is ridiculous. No, in all seriousness, I am wearing these glasses because you remember last episode I said that we've got new stuff coming that we want to talk to you guys about. This has something to do with it. So just there's something coming.
That's a hint.
Yeah,
it's a
little bit of a hint.
A teaser, as the kids say. A teaser.
A teasing a little bit. A teaser is the largemouth would say gravy. The teaser. Anyway, let's go over the weeks. Sean fished every single day. I'm going to make my story short and sweet up until this weekend, and then we can just pick up from Sean. I did a lot of planning for the big wedding that happened on Friday evening out in Sturbridge, Mass. It was wonderful. It was beautiful. Everybody had a great time. It was awesome. Did a lot of that planning. Went out, did a couple of short bank sends here and there. Hosted trivia. I did one event this week that I thought was really cool. I have one account that's an apartment building in Boston, and I've only been working with them, I think, since maybe November was the first event that I had done there. This is my first time being out there in the spring, and they have me come out and do trivia, and then most of the time lately they've really been into traditional bingo. Like just giving away prizes and playing traditional bingo. It's a lot of fun. But I'm packing up at the end of the night, and I look out the window, and we're up on the 12th story. And to the west, there is a completely unobstructed view. Like you could just see all the way. Like it's crazy. And I see these rectangular lights that look unbelievably familiar. And I said, wait a minute. That's Fenway. Like we're just right there. And there's a door. You can open up and walk right out, and you can hear what's going on. It's crazy. Wow. It was just a cool moment where I was like, no kidding. So I put a story on the Bobby Roast Beef page, Instagram profile to just kind of document that. But very, very cool. So that was a really fun event. And then it was a busy week for trivia. It was a very creative week for trivia. Chronic Trips folks probably did the same kind of celebrating that we all did. We had, and that was actually on Wednesday, and on Thursday, man, I got a brand new Name That Tune round coming over. It's already done. Like inspiration struck, and I ran with it. It's terrible versions. It's terrible karaoke versions of popular songs, and I found like the absolute payday for content for these songs. I'm hoping you'll play this, Sean, so I don't want to tell you what they are, but it's amazing.
50-50 on Tuesday, but I don't know.
There's no game Friday. They have a private event in there.
Yeah, so and Friday, after last year, I learned a harsh lesson with Saturday tournaments and going to trivia Friday night.
Yeah. So you can agree. You can feel my pain when we talk about the knockout schedule and stuff. My opponent and I are going back and forth picking days. Luckily, I mean, Scott has been very, very gracious with his schedule as far as working stuff out. Like it seems like this is going to be no problem, but it kind of looks like we're going to have to kitty corner our matchup on a minimalist sort of amount of time that we can kind of bang it all out. But, I said, like we were talking about doing a weekday, there is a benefit to that because there's not going to be any wreck boats. There's not going to be, you know what I mean? There is a benefit to that. Less anglers too, I always
ask to schedule them on a weekday if I can.
Yeah. It's just, it's with the school pickup and drop off and having only a certain amount of time going. It's like, I don't know. But the alternative for me is to do the one weekend day where I'm available, which is after I'm doing a 30th birthday party. But that's going to lead to all kinds of work overnight. That's going to lead to like another 2 hours. That's going to lead to more Monster energy drink is what's going to happen.
You don't want that.
Yeah, I don't want that. You don't want that.
I definitely don't.
No, you don't, brother.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Dig it.
Oh, good Lord. Good Lord. We got some jig heads in here. Who we got in here? We got Berkshire Brett in the house. Says, I bet it was Lockwood that first did it. What? Oh, the bass taming? Maybe. I wouldn't.
We're calling it taming now?
Yeah. Taming. I'm trying to make it a little bit more understandable. Tackle box breakdowns in the house. Gravy fishing is throwing up vomit emojis. We got who else we got? We got Jerry Howes. Your name's going to come up a little bit later.
Motherfucking House.
It's true. You're sure just the tip isn't all of it. just wrong. It's just so wrong. I have been speaking with so many people this week, though, about the Jigs and Bigs tournament, and a lot of the new anglers who the ones who weren't in last year, they're loving this. Like, they're really, really having a good time with it, and that's exactly what we want out of this. We just want you guys to have some fun, and do it in a way that it partners with what we're doing with the content we create. Like, it's awesome. We're actually going to talk about that in just the tip as well, because we have something, an idea brewing that I think could be really, really, really unbelievable. So that was basically my week before the wedding in a nutshell. It was just a lot of planning, a lot of running around, lots of errands and stuff, and then dealing with the news that we have that's coming very soon. We're basically just waiting on some shipments to arrive, and then we're going to blow the roof off this sucker.
Were your daughters on spring break this past weekend?
They were on spring break. Yeah. They had a good time. My oldest started her new job. She is a barista at Starbucks. It's a small independently owned cafe that maybe you've seen on occasion.
Their coffee brings back those memories of putting on an old sweater on a cold winter day.
It does. Chili dog.
Chili dog.
Oh, by the way, for those of you that listen to this show and you're just like, yeah, the last segment is just a bunch of goofing off, go back and listen to last week's episode and the last segment. Dare I say that it was just, it was pure, innocent comedy gold for a lot of people.
It was the purest of pure goofing off.
It was.
Because we've perfected it, apparently. That was brilliant.
It was so good. There was a point where I put that little speed edit on a part where I was kind of like babbling, like that.
Yes.
My daughter heard that and she was like, "What is wrong with you?" And I was like,
I told my brother about the chili dog part because I mentioned him during during that monologue.
Yep.
And he started laughing. He's like, "Yeah, dead on, chili dog." He knows.
It's good. I have watched, no joke. After that show was over, after we finished recording that show, I watched One Crazy Summer that night, and then that's been
the whole thing.
Oh yeah, that night. And then I've been I usually put Hulu on because I like to have some noise in my room, and I usually won't start running. Like, our ceiling fan just doesn't make the noise. It doesn't, and my it's not AC season yet, so I like to have something going. So I'll put like Hulu on and just like let it play. And I started with One Crazy Summer, and I'm like, oh yeah, we'll just friggin' nod off to this. And a couple times I've woken up in the middle of the night and like Bobcat's doing the thing with the Godzilla suit, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is great.
What, do you have it on repeat?
Well, yeah, I sleep very light.
Oh,
it's about the only thing that I do that's light. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so
I did some fishing this week.
You did do a little bit of fishing. You got out there once or twice.
Yep, my kids were also on spring break.
Yep.
My wife likes to travel, and they went to a place. Unfortunately, with my food allergy bullshit, it's not wise to me, for me to go traveling for a day or two where I can't establish myself and actually cook my own food.
Yeah.
This is my life now. And they went out and they'd never been to Niagara Falls, so wife took the boys up to Niagara Falls, and they got to hang out up there.
Yep.
She said it is a super expensive tourist trap. I've never been up there.
Oh, it totally is. Yeah. They went to the Canadian side or
Canadian side, yes.
Okay, Canadian side.
So they went up there, and she said that the clerk at the hotel, the first thing that the clerk said was, get ready for the prices on everything, because even if you go to like Denny's or IHOP, I think it was an IHOP. If you go to IHOP, two people will run you $100 at IHOP.
It's crazy.
Without even thinking about it.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, shit. So they went up there. So that left me 3 days to do work around the house, do a little fishing, get some stuff done, right? I went out locally. I stayed local. I went out 3 times, and I stayed local for 3 of them. Then when they got home, I actually went on a little bit of a road trip with my youngest. I hit a local pond where, if you remember a couple years ago, I hit that 40-inch northern pike.
Yes.
Little Connecticut River offshoot. It sucked. I didn't even get a bite. We're going to get into what I did see in a little bit. Almost like a little mini FTG segment. But we'll get into that in a minute. And then the next couple days that I was able to go, I hit a local pond where it's been feast and famine over the years. Sometimes I'll go out there and catch a lot of big fish, and other times I'll get skunked. And I actually had 2 days where I caught some decent fish. Vegetation is just starting to come up. The fish don't have a lot of cover to hide under, and I made do. And I did all right. So nothing spectacular, but just a nice couple solid days of fishing in colder water.
Yep.
Then when my wife and kids got back, my youngest and I will take a trip sometimes out to Cape Cod. We haven't done it in a couple of years. We'll go out to Cape Cod for a little day trip, pond hop to some little tiny places with the kayaks, and then go grab some food at Max of Chatham, which if you're on Cape Cod and you guys want some seafood, they have a market built into the place. Their seafood is fresh. Then they fry it, then you eat it. He actually tried some sushi, some maki rolls for the first time in his life, and he enjoyed them.
Nice.
So that was good. I got some whole belly clams because that's what you do. That's what one does on the Cape. You get some whole belly. That's fried
exactly
clams.
What you do. Yeah.
You don't get the regular clams. Get the whole belly. All right, people, pony up. You only live once.
There are some people. I married one of these people who is really kind of grossed out by the whole belly and the cornmeal that gets in the belly, like after they harvest them. And I'm like, what's not to love?
That's extra flavor.
Yeah, it's like the brine.
I don't understand that.
Yeah.
But we went out to one pond, and it's kind of like my little go-to, especially in bad weather. Even in bad weather, I haven't caught any giants there, but there's always fish biting.
Yeah.
It seems. So I like this little pond. We went there, and my youngest, for being 13 years old, throws a bait caster, which some adults can't do.
Yeah.
And we tied on a jig, and I said, "There's some timber. Go to town." And I was tying mine on right afterwards, and he hooked his first fish. Unfortunately, from that point on, after the first fish, the wind was picking up just a hair, and the kayak he was using doesn't have a pedal drive, so he got very frustrated very quickly, and I understand because I used to too.
Oh yeah, it comes with the territory, man.
So we wrapped it up pretty quick. We got,
but hold on, I gotta give a first jig fish.
Yep,
you got to. That's big.
And yeah, we went over to Max, filled ourselves up, went home, listened to the Celtics game on the way home. Congrats to the Celtics being 3-0 in the first round against the dreaded Nets and Kyrie Irving, the turncoat, the traitor, the Benedict Arnold, the bird flipping basketball player. I don't know if you saw that on the news.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, he drilled a shot in game one and just let everybody in the front row or whatever, first 5 rows know. Yeah. One finger salute all the way down the court. Like, good for you, dude. You're classy. Granted, I don't know what they said to him before he shot that ball, but whatever.
That's true, yeah.
It is.
But it comes with the territory when you jump teams,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we got home, and I immediately, that was, the hell day was that? That was yesterday.
Yeah.
That was yesterday. So I crashed when I got home, immediately woke up, and then Nelson and I had a little bit of a jaunt locally planned for the next MAKB Western Division tournament. We have the Connecticut River, which at this time of year, those of us who live around here, hell, if you live around a big river this time of year and you've got any sort of snow melt, the river levels can be volatile and the flow can be volatile, and you got to be really careful. We did pick a place that it's an oxbow. For those of you who don't know what an oxbow actually is, it's where the river used to run, and then at some point in the past, the flow got diverted, and it's left with almost like a U-shaped cove, might still be connected to the river in one part or another.
Yep.
And a lot of rivers have them, and we're going to fish that, but we had to check today to make sure that the flow of the river was okay, because we're going to allow the main river too, and it's actually down quite a bit. And it's not dangerous. I mean, you get that river flowing, Bobby. You've seen it.
Oh yeah,
there's full trees will get washed into the river, and you know
they're gone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you get whacked with a kayak, or whacked with a full tree in your kayak, you're in deep shit.
Oh yeah.
So we went out there and checked the place, and I actually had a good day. Got quite a few fish. I believe that the conditions are going to change, so I was stuck with a choice of, do I pray that these conditions don't change with the river levels fluctuating and hold off from doing what I'm doing and try to save these fish for Saturday? Or I am in that Big 5 tournament for the year.
Cash in.
Do I want to go balls out with the the expectation that these conditions are not going to be present on Saturday. So I went with choice B, and
Yep.
Nelson and I had a blast. We were firing jigs all over the place. He actually is not
He's not a jigsman himself.
well, he does. He throws a jig every
Sure.
now and again, but like he's the lizard king.
He is the lizard king. That's true.
You go with what brings you to the dance, and
Groovy,
jigs do not bring him to the
baby.
dance. You go with what puts on the pit vipers.
It's true.
And he got one. He got a good one out of the structure we were fishing with a jig, and we went off on our way. But that was a good pre-fishing session, and then we feel comfortable safety wise allowing
The tournament to go down.
allowing it to go out on the main river.
Oh, yeah.
That oxbow doesn't have a lot of current going in.
No.
In or out of it, but the main river obviously would have been nice if the levels are down, and they are. So we're gonna
That's
open
awesome.
that door, double check it on the day of event. If something happens, we get some sort of crazy rainfall.
Yeah.
or Vermont does. That might change, but for now it's open, and we'll have people out on the water.
Nice.
And that was really my week in review. And where that is going to lead me real quick is. Yeah, we got to get this out of the way. I mean,
yeah,
I sent you an article.
You did.
A couple days ago. Very unfortunate event happened where two Massachusetts men were kayaking in a Vermont lake last week or the week before. They went out, and apparently the boat capsized. They tried to swim back into shore, and they were unable to, and both of them drowned. I did read the article. And I'm going to say this is just guesswork on my part, or reading into it or logical. I don't know what you want to say.
Yep.
Analysis on my part of the article. They went under. Witnesses said they went under. So that tells me that life jackets may not have been involved.
Yep.
I did not. Let me really accentuate this. I did not see any sort of confirmation on that, and anywhere in the media that they were or were not wearing life vests, but eyewitnesses said they went under. That tells me
they were
probably
not.
Weren't.
Yeah.
But both gentlemen passed. One was 27, one was 29. It's a shame. I think this happened over the winter too, right? Wasn't there a gentleman that was older that was kayaking, and he was wearing proper gear and still
he was. Yeah.
Yeah. Guys and gals.
Yep.
We're just at the rule of 120. I mean, it was what, about 60 degrees today when the sun came out?
Yeah, it was actually, it was right just a little over 60 degrees.
Yeah, and it was, Nelson and I saw the water today between 50 and 52. We're almost there.
Yeah.
Please, dear God, continue to wear protective clothing underneath. I had a conversation with honestly, I can't remember who it was. We were talking about the gear that I wear underneath my clothing, okay? In conditions like this. This is an added little benefit to wearing a wetsuit. I don't care if someone wears a wet or a dry suit. Both are going to be protective. Mm-hmm. If you wear a wetsuit, you're going to have to, by law, wear your life preserver. But a wetsuit has natural buoyancy. That's why divers have to wear weights. Even a 3 mil wetsuit will keep you afloat. And then if you're wearing a life preserver, it'll keep your head afloat if you're unconscious. Yeah. And you'll be able to breathe and not suck in water. So, like, it's great that you won't go under with a wetsuit, but you might not be conscious enough to keep your head out of the water.
Yeah, exactly.
Wear a wetsuit, wear a dry suit, and for God's sake, wear a PFD. All right, because if you go in, the PFD is going to keep you afloat and you hopefully will not freeze up too badly to get back to shore if you're not wearing anything else. But just for safety's sake, wear your PFD and wear something that's going to prevent you from dying very quickly when you get in that water, because it was highly preventable.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And conditions then, like, people see a 60-degree day and they've been cooped up all winter long and they want to get outside and enjoy the outdoors. I get that, and they go out and they're wearing shorts and like a hoodie or something like that, and they're like, yeah, everything's great. This is cool. But the reality of it is you don't realize how cold that 50-degree water is in a 55, 60-degree air temp scenario. I'll give you an example, and this is not necessarily this is definitely the interesting way to transition over to the wedding talk, but I had a talk with the groom, the butcher, as I was packing up at the wedding afterwards, and in the best man's toast, it had come up that that day Ryan had gone out and done some fishing and was out doing his thing, and managed to get a couple hours out on the boat with his best man, and they're throwing big old swim baits, and best man, breaks off a big ass swim bait, a very expensive big ass swim bait. And instead of jumping in himself and getting it, because Ryan was wearing shorts, he goes, "You're going to have to jump in, man." And he did. And he was about waist deep. I asked him, I was like, "How deep do you have to go in?" He's like, "Oh, it was like about waist deep." He's like, and it was cold. It was cold as hell. He's like, "I got up," and he goes, "When I got back in the boat," he's like, "we were done, but it was like 25 minutes before I could feel my legs."
Yeah, that was really, really dumb to do.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like it sheds a little bit of light that, like, we think that you're like, "Oh, it's 50 degrees. It's not freezing." Yeah, but that it's the recoup. You get soaked in. Let's say you're in and out. Let's say you dump your kayak, but you're right near the bank and you're able to pull everything right up the shore and you're out there. Well, now the problem is now you have to get warm, and doing that in a 50 or 60 degree air temp is a whole lot harder to do, when you're covered in 50 degree water. Like, you're just, it's a serious thing. So you gotta,
yep. And
think.
Just before we put the positive bun on this shit sandwich.
Yep.
That is our segment 1 this week. 3 times. Actually, 1, 2, 3, 4 times. Mm-hmm. 4 times in the past week I've been out. And the place that I caught that pike, the water was 50 degrees. 2 guys came paddling right by me. T-shirts, no life vests. Yeah. T-shirts and jeans and no life vests. And at this point, I can't even... I don't even feel comfortable saying anything because it's just starting a fight.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what? What can I do? You're fucking not going to put it on.
Yep.
You're an idiot.
I mean, I think the best way for us to look at it, Sean, and anybody who understands what it is that we're trying to say and believes this, is like, if anybody's going to argue this point, you know what I mean? They're really showing you the level of intelligence that they're playing with. No. You know what I mean? They really are giving you a clue of the level of, and I feel like this is sort of just nature's way of thinning out the herd at some point.
I hate to say that.
Yeah.
I know there's always a number of people. Like, look, when I was a kid, I didn't know any better, and I did shit like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just did it. I had no idea. But now we know, when you know something.
Ignorance is bliss sometimes, but like, we know way better now. And like, the example gets, every single year something comes up.
Yeah. So just to wrap this up real quick, 2 guys on the pond in the canoe. Fuck you, you're idiots.
Yep.
Guy in a kayak another day that I actually had to leave the lake early for, even though I was having a good day, because I didn't want to talk to you because you weren't wearing a life vest in 50 degree water. Fuck you.
Exactly.
And Nelson and I saw 2 guys today. One guy wearing his life vest. Very good. Applause for you, Bobby. Yep. Applause.
You got it.
Guy in the back of the boat. Fuck you. Your buddy was right, and you're an idiot.
There's one thing that I think that that we got to consider here too, is that maybe we do need to talk to these guys when we're like, because there's a whole other element here, is that in our state right now, when you are out on the water, it's illegal to be on a boat without your life jacket.
Dude, I can't.
Yeah.
I can't.
I know you don't want to go to jail again. I get it.
Because number one, I'm going to go from 0 to 100 real quick. Because my first question is, where's your life vest?
Yeah, where's your life vest?
And then they're going to be like, fuck, I don't wear one. I'll be like, okay, so did you buy a license? Yeah. Okay, so we pick and choose what laws we want to follow. Fuck you, I'm done. I'm not even going to start
exactly.
it. 'Cause, you know what I mean? Like, I can't. I'll fucking lose my mind. And people carry guns. I don't want to get shot.
Well,
I will
that
say
too.
something.
Yeah.
But
that too. Nelson chimes in and says, I witnessed my first kayak flip yesterday. Luckily, she was wearing her PFD and made it out no problem. That's what they're there for.
Nelson actually told me that story. I'll tell you that off air. There's some funny details.
There's more to it.
But I'm not going to get into it.
I love that.
Yeah, it's fucking stupid. Nelson actually had a story for me. I think it was Nelson. He came across 3 people when he was pre-fishing. Nelson had his knockout on Saturday, his knockout first round matchup.
Yep.
And he came across 3 people in wreck kayaks, no PFDs. One of them was a young child. And then he said, this is even better.
Yeah.
To show the level of intelligence here. They had a standard roof rack on their vehicle and tried to load all three of them up like slices of bread.
Yeah.
With one person holding them. Like, why would you not stack them like a pyramid?
A triangle. Yeah, exactly.
What the fuck? Nelson goes, I couldn't say anything. They're just going to die. It's like Richard Dreyfuss in Jaws.
Yeah.
When he goes, hey, the officer asked me to alert you that you're overloading that boat. And they tell him to fuck off. And he goes, okay, could you tell me the way to the nearest hotel? And he goes, the guy goes, yeah, you walk straight off the pier. And they all laugh. And he turns around and just goes, they're all going to die. That's true. What happens around here.
It's true. Yeah.
Fuck.
Freaking stupid.
Can we wipe this?
Let's
clean things up. Let's get to the wedding and how fun that was.
Okay, let's go ahead. Let's move to the wedding. Let's set the stage. It's Friday. You know what? I didn't even think about it. I should have played The Cure's Friday I'm in Love.
Oh my God.
I totally fail. Hang on. Ryan, Nicole, I failed you. No, it was an amazing wedding. I haven't been. It's been like 5 years since I've done a wedding at this venue, in Sturbridge. It's a great place. I think they refinished their floors because I don't remember them being as smooth the last time I was there.
All right.
It's kind of nice. Well, no, because I remember there from years past, there was a divot that was like in the hole in the room, and I would always set my speaker up over it, like because there's a tripod, and I'm like, this way nobody's going to be dancing and like fall and stumble into my stuff, because it was right where I would set up, so it happened to work out nice. But great time had by all. It was a party. I like the name change. There was definitely a party. The ceremony was beautiful, I am told. While the ceremony,
we made it.
You made it. Oh yeah,
we did. Yeah.
While the ceremony was going on, I was setting things up over the reception site. We had a blast. We played the Newlywed Game with Nicole and Ryan. It was a blast. It was a good time. In fact, now what was interesting was I was trying desperately to inject some jigs and bigs into that game in any way possible. And Sean, I go up to the table as Sean's logging in. I was like, pick the Kielbasa Country buzzer. Just pick the Kielbasa Country buzzer.
I did.
And he goes, and he did. He picked it. And I don't think he was in the brain space to even think like, hey, why am I doing this? And I was like, on the off chance he gets a speed bonus, I'm like, I just want like one of those little Easter eggs, because some of those Easter eggs from the show I do use as sound effects for trivia, for buzzer sounds and stuff, and I usually label them weird something, and because they don't make any sense. And so I you had a good 2 or 3 speed bonuses, and the entire room is like, you would hear good old Kielbasa Country. That's right. I remember looking over at like the table with like their grandparents or something. They're like,
no matter how many times we heard that 2 or 3 Kielbasa Countries, that was not the speed bonus that mattered.
Mrs. the Fisherman.
Yes.
Destroyed. Like, it was just unbelievable. It was great. It was awesome to see some Hooks at Hoodlums pro staff in there, Miguel and Candace. That was a blast. It was a real good time. We'll get to there is an FTG that is kind of related. We'll get to that.
We'll get there.
We will get there. Sean, what was your take on the whole thing? You had this from the guest perspective.
So we went to the ceremony. My wife and oldest had an appointment that morning, and it wound up a lot earlier than we thought. So we were able to go to the ceremony, and we made it there. We slipped in right after. We were like 5 minutes late or whatever. So we, better than not making it all. We got in there.
Yep.
Excellent ceremony. It was really, really nice. And then we headed over to Sturbridge to the public house with a K, old school, oldie English public house.
Public.
Yep. Public. There you go.
There we go.
And, we had a blast. So, I've never really had, I know I've met Miguel a couple of times. Him and his wife, Candace, were there, and we had a chance to really, get to know him a little bit, and it was a blast. And, Yeah, food was great. I mean, we had fun, and you know what's really good is like I've never been to a wedding where there was something else actually going on that the guests could do, and you provided that with the trivia. So it was kind of like it was neat.
Fun. It was definitely it was interesting, and it was short. It wasn't over the top or anything like that. There was one thing that I thought, oh, damn it, oh, this is wild, like totally wild. So being in the wedding business as long as I have been, like you see a lot of the same faces here and there, like other vendors, photographers or videographers or florists or caterers. And you get like a relationship. And I've been doing this for quite some time, but I have only really kind of been in the wedding space after like 2000, maybe 2001. Something like that was like when I really focused on the wedding side of this. A lot of everything else was like school events and corporate stuff and things like that. But the wedding world is a little bit different. Now, the photographer that they had chosen for their big event is actually, oddly enough, another coworker of mine from a different electronics retail establishment that I had worked at, which is kind of bizarre. So to Jim and Barbara Talenda, good to see you. It's been, Jesus, like 25 years plus minimum.
It all comes back to electronic stores in Springfield.
Yeah, it really does. Yeah, Lechmere Home Image. If you bought a camera or a compact disc, you probably bought it from me. It was just wild. So it was he comes over and oftentimes is the case, like when you're working with folks, especially when you have to work on a timeline together and make things happen in a timely fashion, and you want to make sure that like, hey, we're doing this one event, we got to make sure that the pictures and the video and everything's together. There's coordinating that has to happen, and they were very complimentary. They were like, you were on this, like it was great, managing all this stuff, and it was very, very cool to hear that. But he comes over and he introduces himself, and he's like, I'm from out your way, out in Wilbraham. I said, oh, really? No kidding. He goes, yeah, my name's Jim. And I'm like, his voice sounds familiar. I was like, I went up to him afterwards, like, Jim, what's your last name? And he's like, Talenda. And I was like, no kidding. I was like, you used to work at Lechmere, didn't you? And for a second, he looked afraid. For a second,
shit,
he's like,
they found out how much I stole.
Shit. Did you work for loss prevention? You son of a bitch. So it was wild. It was interesting and good times, lots of fun. Ellie jumping in here says she appreciates the glasses. She says that Randy Savage is apparently alive and well. That's true. Snap into it. And then she says, I love that Sean explains how he has a blast with a stone-faced killer tone.
I don't know. I mean, I had a blast. Well, let me tell you how much of a blast I had. Ellie will like this. Bobby, at what point did you say, do you want a coloring book?
Oh, that's right. Was it just before? I think it was right after they cut the cake.
Yeah, you just came up to me and you're like, here's a coloring book. I'm like, all right. And you gave me crayons too.
Crayons and a coloring book, yeah.
I had crayons, I had a coloring book. And then I went up to the bar. I got my wife a drink, I wanted a Diet Coke. And I said, hey, do me a favor. Give me a plastic cup if you got it. Figuring they give like one of those plastic keg-style cups, right? No, they had 2 kitty cups with sea creatures on them. So I had a coloring book, I had crayons, and I had kitty cups. I was in heaven because that was my frame of mind for about 2 hours. Full disclosure, I'm a director for Chronic Trips and their tournament circuit.
Put the math together. Yeah, exactly.
Do the math, folks.
Oh man. Well, it was a whole lot of fun. It was really, really great. Ryan had surprised me. Occasionally when I do these jobs, as the owner of a company, it's never expected or anything, but occasionally someone will offer a tip, as a gratuity for a job well done. Now, while I never, have that in my contract or build it in or anything like that, it's just one of those things. I've never turned one down. But Ryan took it a step further. And he gave me a glide bait, a 6-ounce glide bait that is very special to him. And I mistook what he was saying at first. This is the bait that he had that he had caught his first 8-pounder on, and I thought it was the exact bait. And on one hand, I was thinking to myself, God, this thing is in amazing condition. If he's fished it that much, like there's no hook rash, like nothing at all. And then another thought was like, well, I can't take this if this is that bait. Like that's like, he needs to keep this. That's like an heirloom now. You know what I mean? Like it's got a certain level of significance. And he's like, no. He's like, I've got others. He's like, I want you to have this one. And I was like, all right, done deal. So I'm going to go and I'll be hucking around. You know me. I like hucking around a chonky glide.
Chonky.
You know, I do. I like a chonky glide. So, chonky wake bait for that matter. We're going to have a good time with it. It's going to be fun. I love a good tip. Oh, my goodness. And then, so let's get to the only real productive fishing I had this weekend. I had spoken with my wife. I said, look, I go, Saturday, let's just hang out. I said, Sunday morning, I'm going to get up and go fish. I'll come home and I'll take you to go and get your nail appointment and everything done. And then we'll go and we'll do our little date night for the weekend. We'll go and have some cocktails and some appetizers at a local eatery. And it'll be awesome. And she's like, okay, great. I got to tell you, don't let her know this, but I have been really, really good so far with saying I'm going to be back at this time and actually being back at this time. So far it's been really good. So this is great because I feel like when I tell her I'm going to go fish, there's less drama, you know. There's a slight eye roll, and then I can back it up with like, hey, but no, I'm gonna take care of you. It'll be fine. So today, my goal was I just wanted to get out because it's been over a week since I've had a bite. Over a week. And it was kind of like once I get to that 7-day window, I start to kind of like lose it a little bit. You know what I mean? I couldn't get a bite last weekend, and then we got to this weekend, and I'm like, oh, man. So I said, all right, I got to get out, and I made a plan to meet up with Joe, the bearded angler. And Joe and I were talking. He's like, actually, the place you're thinking about starting, I'm going to be there with my son, Bobby, first thing at that time. So I'll just meet you there. It'll be awesome. I said, perfect. I will have stickers for you. We're ready to go. Because like a moron, I always seem to place them in an area where I am not at the time. So we meet up, we go over this little pond, and they're immediately like getting on some panfish, caught some small bass. And I'm like, all right, okay, so I'll switch up my technique. I'll throw a jerk bait. I'll throw this. I had a chase on a Ned rig, nice little follow from a good-sized yellow perch. And then I saw a really big yellow perch cruising along the bank. Saw a couple of I would probably guess they were about 11 to maybe 10 to like 13-inch bass cruising up shallow, just not committing to anything I was throwing. So I had gone and tried a couple of spots around this other area. There's a small pond nearby. I threw a line or two in there, a couple of baits to see if anything was going to hit. And then I bounced. I went to another spot. Totally like lackluster, just absolutely awful. Decided I would go to an old faithful place that's in the direction of home. And I'm like, I got 2 hours. Let's see what we can put together. And I get there, and with the way this place is set up, there's this nice open end and this channel. So even on a day with like a light breeze, it feels like there's a lot more wind pushing in this area. And you know me, Sean. Now I start thinking wind, and I'm like, let's throw a spinnerbait. So I brought 2 combos with me. I brought one combo with a spinnerbait and one with a Ned rig in case I needed to finesse it, and that's it. I kept that spinnerbait in my hand. I got 2 bumps, caught a 12.75, which, if I'm not mistaken, is the same exact size as what Wild Bill caught in his knockout.
Oh,
but
we'll go into that later.
We will. Well, we will. But what I want to say is this, is that perception is reality. And when the pressure's on and you're in a tournament situation, he was pissed about that 12 3/4-inch bass. I was delighted because I was like, I haven't had a bite in a week. Holy shit. So like, you know, it's a whole other kind of world. So what I did was I had made sure to get a good pick and, all this other stuff and release this fish. And then I just started like moving. I was like, all right, so, we found a fish here. We'll go ahead and work and see if we can get any more bites. Nothing. I move a little bit further down and I started making some progress down the bank, and I hooked an even bigger one. but I was fishing around some timber because, like Debo says, when you see wood, pitch to wood. So I'm just pitching this spinnerbait in and slow rolling it, popping it every once in a while, a nice half turn. And I get a good sized bite. I set the hook, and this son of a bitch gets all tied up in this timber and somehow just manages to get off the hook. I'm like, you bastard. So I'm not only impressed that one, that's two more hookups that I managed to get using a spinnerbait, but it's the same bait I've been using for 3 weeks. I haven't lost it.
Yep. Nice. That's
to me, that's the biggest technique win of the whole thing.
It's an excellent accomplishment, is what I was going to say.
I feel good about that, and it's interesting too. It's downsized from what I would normally throw. I would normally gut instinct would be to throw a half ounce, and this is a quarter, and it's a little bit smaller profile, and I use a smaller trailer on it, and it just seems to be the juice. And so maybe I'm throwing too big a bait most of the time. Who the hell knows? It's good to have options. But so then I came home. My wife and I went out. We had dinner, had a couple of beers, and we headed home. And here we are recording podcast greatness for all you folks. That sums up my week.
It's what we do.
Yeah, it is what we do. It's just how it works. So I want to go ahead and catch up on some of these comments here before we move on. Let's see what we got here. We got a bunch of them here. Let's see. Ellie's got some stuff in here. She apparently says she loves cake. We got Josh H. jumps in, says, "Evening, gentlemen. How you doing, Josh? How's things?" Ellie says she likes casting. It's like casting with an Italian sub.
She's talking about swim baits.
Oh, swim baits. Yeah.
Swim baits.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Yep. Ellie's also making a few notes here about what she caught several fish on. We'll get into that in tournament time, Ellie. Don't worry. We got
definitely will. Oh, yep. Really? I didn't realize they were all. Yeah, she did. She did manage to get a what was it? 23 3/4 inch carp. That's good.
Did I tell you what I've been catching the majority of my fish? There was one day I didn't, but the majority of my fish over the past 2 weeks that I've caught have been on a couple of custom bladed jigs that I asked Matt Thayer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would say probably 50 to 75% of the fish I've been catching are on his lures. And I called him up yesterday and thanked him and said, "Man, you did exactly what I needed, because I have been having a blast with these things." And he was very happy with that. So
that's awesome.
He also posted on Instagram yesterday. Did you see his 2 entries for that?
I did.
Underground Lures contest. Okay. Yeah. His spinnerbait's gorgeous. And then I saw
I didn't see the spinnerbait.
He's got a beautiful perch colored spinnerbait.
Oh.
And then he made a what is it? It's called he calls it a skitter walk. It looks like a giant jointed jitterbug.
Yeah.
But he did it in a wood herringbone pattern. Oh my God. It's
unbelievable.
That's one of those lures you don't want to throw because a pike will sink its teeth into it and it's destroyed. Ladies and gents, full disclosure, we have nothing to do with Matt Thayer. We like him.
We love him. He's great.
But I pay for my lures just like anybody else with him. And if you're not checking his shit out, you're missing out.
Yeah. No, his stuff is top notch. It's really, really, really fantastic gear. Yep. A lot of hard work goes into that stuff. Klondike Custom Creations is the name of his company. Check it out. I mean, one of the things that I am a big fan of Matt's is his buzz baits. I think these buzz baits are absolutely fantastic. I got to look up that spinnerbait too and see what that's
Check it out.
about.
He put an Instagram post up with 2 pictures on it, I believe, yesterday.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you saw that jitterbug, skitter walk, whatever he wants to call it.
I did see the skitter walk because he did a funky gluing of 2 different types of wood. I forget what it was, but there's one that's a lighter shade and one that's darker. And it is like that, like herringbone. It's amazing. It looks so freaking good.
Let me see if I can help you out, my friend. There you go. Look at this.
Oh, painted blades too.
The blades have a scale pattern on them too. You don't see that too often. It's gorgeous.
That's awesome.
Matt does some excellent work.
He really does.
everybody who's listening, check him out. Klondike Custom Creations. Matt's a friend of ours, and he's kicking ass, folks.
He really is.
Yeah.
He really is. So yeah, I mean, this was a wild week. I'm excited for this coming week. My goal is this week I am dropping the kayak into the water for the first time of 2022, and that is fantastic, Elise.
Ellie just squirted. Congrats, Ellie.
What was that advice you gave on your episode? Everybody seems to love it, by the way. We're going to make a t-shirt out of it. That's what I wanted to talk about. The other thing, we got 2 new items up for grabs on the Jigs and Bigs merch store. One of those is a Bernie's HOT sort of tribute logo that we created. The store that Sean and I worked at was a appliance and electronics store called Bernie's. It was in the heyday was like the early to late 90s, and it was awesome. Like we loved it there, and I kind of did a little mock-up of that style of logo, and I basically made it's a work shirt that Sean and I used to have to wear. It had the little logo over the chest, and then on the back it was a much larger logo, and it's available in one color only. The same way that they did theirs. They were they were navy blue with white graphic, and you can check that out there. But I also got a request from some trivia regulars that have started listening to this show of all shows, which is kind of fun and interesting, and I love it. They had asked me if we did any women's tank tops, and I said, you know what? Let me double check, because I know we have women's t-shirts. We didn't have the tank tops, and I said, you know what? I'm gonna throw one of those together right now. So I made a logo. It's not an FTG series because it's a racerback style tank top. There's not enough fabric on the back in order to put FTG. So it's got the Jigs and Bigs logo on it. Good stuff. Check it out. It's awesome. It's all there for you guys. jigsandbigs.com. jigsandbigs.com/shop if you are into just typing out that URL directly and you need to get it. Good stuff. And we have more stuff coming too. We have other designs that are kind of in the works that we're going to be dropping throughout the summer, and we're going to have a whole lot of fun with it. It's going to be very, very, very good. Where else was I going to go with this week? Oh, yeah.
Into a break. No?
We are going to go into a break. But so this week, I'm dropping the kayak into the water for the first time this year. And such begins my mission to 2 kayak sends a week. That's the plan. I am looking to pedal the fat fuck off of this guy right here. That's what I'm looking to do. That's the plan. And I have a local body of water. I will mail it in. I know the fishing might suck, but I'm going to be in there, and I'm going to be doing the dirty. And
if you need a safety buddy,
yeah, let's do it.
Because I think conditions will be changing on our tournament for this week or this weekend, I'm probably going to go out pre-fishing again Wednesday just to kind of get a bead on things and see where we're at. So if you want to go out Wednesday, to fulfill one of your 2 days, I will be going out, after I drop the kids off at school and before I pick them up.
That could work out. That could work out very well. Let me take a look at what the weather looks like, and we'll go ahead and make that shit happen. Oh, I love it. I love it. Ellie and I were talking this week about getting out and doing some fishing, and she says she's tying her paddleboard to my yak, and we're going. Let's do it. Let's make it happen. Nelson jumps in and says, we're going to hold you to that, Bobby, minimum 2 times a week. That's what I'm going for. That's like the real goal. Secondary goal that I stumbled on was that building confidence in chatterbaits and spinnerbaits, and we're getting there. We're getting there. Awesome, guys. We're going to take a short break. We're going to come back. We've got just the tip for you this week. We've got this one's kind of an interesting one because is it involved with fishing? 100% it is, but it's so much more at that. And we're going to kind of put our money where our mouth is on this one just a little bit. We've just got a teaser of some of the info of something that I think you guys are really, really going to like. We're going to talk all about it.
We're getting back into that recurring theme of the 2 worlds that this show straddles.
Yeah.
The 2 worlds that this show motorboats.
Exactly. The 2 worlds that this show motorboats indeed. We'll see you guys after this. We'll be right back. Have a good one.
All right, I got to take a piss.
Jigs and Bigs is proud to announce we're being supported by Old Glory Outdoors. They're a veteran-owned company that carries fishing and hunting gear. Plus, they're highly active in supporting veteran organizations and charities. Old Glory is an authorized dealer of favorite rods, FX rods, Guggen baits, X-Zone lures, Sixth Sense, and many more. There's a brick-and-mortar store located in East Brookfield, Massachusetts, but you can also order online at oldgloryoutdoors.com. They ship anywhere in the lower 48 states or order online and pick up at the store. When you order, use the promo code JIGS and Bigs and you'll save 10% off your complete order. Plus, you'll help support the show. Make sure to check out the apparel line called OGO Gear while you're there. Old Glory Outdoors believes in the slogan "Start 'em young" to keep kids away from screens and enjoying nature. They've got a full array of live bait too. Check out oldgloryoutdoors.com and use the promo code JIGS and Bigs. Save some money and gear up now.
Bobby and Sean now have a special presentation for us all. They'd like to give everyone just the tip.
Indeed we do, guys. We have a good tip for you. We're going to bury a tip so far in you, you're not going to know what the hell happened. And this is a doozy because, like Sean mentioned in the previous segment, this one does kind of straddle both worlds that we like to dip our toe into, both the tournament side and the content side, the content creator influencer side, and how this works out. So Sean, why don't you go ahead and start this off, and then we'll just kind of go throughout. We'll explain like kind of the mechanics of what we're talking about, and then we'll follow that up with a little explanation of how we actually want to put this into practice.
You and I have conversations some mornings that make sense to us and only us because we're in between these two worlds of influencers and competitive fishermen.
Yes.
Competitive anglers,
sure.
And we got onto a topic the other day of efficiency. And my example from, the competitive world is I said a lot of tournaments now, particularly like KBF, EKF, even the MAKB events, you can do things like double down.
Yep.
You can do things like for KBF, you can get into the pro series. So you're fishing the same tournament with the same people, but you might be in a different pool for, if you do the double down, not everybody does the double down. So there's a group of people that are doing that.
Yep.
And I think what I was talking about when we brought this up, if memory serves me correctly, was when I do tournaments, I come at it from a different point, and I feel that it's more efficient. Instead of going against the same pool of anglers, I'll go and do like last year. Last year's a great example, and the year before. Actually, pardon me, last year was. So I would do an MAKB tournament, but then I would do a Jigs and Bigs or a Chronic Trips where there might be some similarities, a couple people here and there, but generally the entire field is made up of other types of anglers.
Yes.
And I felt that it increased my opportunity, increased my chances of finishing, shall we say, in the money. I know it was prizes, but in the money in some of these tournaments.
In the winnings.
Because, I mean, what's the point? If you're finishing third in one pool of people, whether it's MAKB, KBF, EKF, whatever, and you're in another pool of people, but it's comprised of pretty much the same people, even maybe a few subtractions, you still might finish in the same order. You know what I mean? Yep. Whereas if you're in a completely different type of tournament or a completely different group of people in a tournament, like, where a nationwide multi-species tournament is not going to have the same group of people in it as a
local trail,
a local state trail.
Yeah,
exactly. So it's two completely different groups of people. That's the way I felt my efficiency would improve. And then how did I relate? Remind me, how did I relate that to the other side, to the influencer, social media, etc.? How did I did something. It was brilliant, and you jumped on it too, and added a whole bunch to it. And we're idiots.
I forget exactly the wording that you used or how it was that you put it, but basically, like, like we basically acknowledge that there is this thing where you have like amazing anglers that do fantastic stuff, competing and cashing checks, and their names, they become names that you recognize, you hear about these people, and sometimes on certain levels, if you're talking about like a nationally known tournament trail or something, it's recognized by more people. What's the word I'm looking for? It's linear. You know what I mean? Like the larger the audience, the more well known that person is. It makes sense. And then it's a little bit different for the influencer or the content creator. For the content creator, it's a different set of demands is really what it is. Like, you have to catch the biggest 5 fish or 3 fish or whatever that tournament might be in a competitive setting in set amount of time. Well, I mean, your performance is going to be ranked based on that. But when you're a content creator, you have to churn out material essentially for your audience or your following. And that material is a vehicle for you to work with sponsors or advertisers or what have you. And that's where like the real compensation comes from in a lot of ways. So it's a unique situation because you have two very different types of people who basically love doing the same thing, fishing. And at the end of the day, they both want exactly the same thing, compensation, right?
Yep.
But they have very different ways of approaching it. And we kind of saw this as a chance for these two folks to sort of work together and sort of come together to kind of meet in the middle. And it can work, and you're kind of seeing this already happening on another scale. But if you start small, it's like a plant in a garden. If you plant it and water it and take care of it, it will grow into something even bigger and better. That's the whole idea. So we sort of came up with this idea of like the idea of collaboration being like kind of like the key to make it all sort of work. Instead of butting heads nonstop. And I guess we've kind of seen this before, like tournament anglers will sometimes have a chip on their shoulder about content creators, and content creators will, feel as if like somehow because they don't compete, they're not taken seriously in the fishing sort of world. Well, if you collaborate together and work together on these sort of things, then you can sort of strive for the same, all these same end game, Am I doing a good job explaining this?
You are. I think where I'm it's all coming back to me now. I'm
yes.
sorry. There's a big cloud in between, cloud of smoke in between today and when we talked about this, and it was on Friday night during that wedding.
It's true.
So what I think the example I gave was content creators are out there and they're doing such a great job with whether it's their social media account or the videos they're taking or whatever they're out
whatever
there
that
doing.
platform is. Yeah,
exactly. And they might not be the angler that can go out there on the drop of a hat during whatever conditions and do that water reading and competitively, hang with the best, but they have that skill set that those who are competing might not have. And I think what we came down to was it's a real rare unicorn for an angler to be out there, to be at the top of their game, angling wise, and being able to hang with any field of competition and then turn around and be one of the best social media / producers out there, content creators out there. It seems like there's a big disconnect. And you and I think we obsess over this. Like, how can we be the glue?
Yeah. Let's be the glue. Let's be the glue.
We want to be the glue.
Roped between, bringing everybody together, Let's
be clear. We don't want to be the jizz ropes.
No, we don't. Elise jumps in with something that's really good. She says, most of my clients just want to fish and want nothing to do with content creation, but the sponsored deliverables require it usually. Everyone's a content creator these days. The delivery differs. And she's 100% right. Like, everybody is a content creator, and it's God, wouldn't it be nice if you could be like, I just want to fish, I don't want to do that. But this is the problem that we've seen come up before. Underwear gnomes. We're talking
step 2. It's step 2 right there.
Yeah, it's step 2.
Step 2.
Yep, you just sidestepped it, and you can't go from step 1 to step 3. Steal underwear, profit.
Catch fish, get sponsors.
Yeah.
There's step 2. No one cares about catching fish.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. I mean, and I mean, Elise is coming to it from the standpoint of anglers that are on a national level, not even on a local level. We're talking about bringing that down to a local and regional level. Like, even there, if you start there and you get a good foundation and start working with it, and I got to give credit where credit's due right here. I want to give credit to Ken Wood. I took a deep dive. I'm sorry, Ken, if you're hearing this, but Bobby Beefcake was doing a little skulking on your YouTube channel. And I will say this, recently, his content has become fantastic. You know why? It's organic and it's entertaining, and that man is a freaking monster in that kayak. Like, he is a great angler. The video with the snake heads and all that stuff, I was glued to my my eyes were glued to that screen. I was like, holy shit.
He's also a great and original vocalist. Did you hear his "What the fuck am I doing here" song?
Yes. So good. So good. But like, it's starting there, and you know, are you going to see it pop overnight? It's not going to happen. It's going to take you months and months and years. There's a really well-known content creator that just celebrated his 10-year YouTube anniversary, and that's Andrew Flair, right? And 10 years on YouTube seems like a lifetime to most people. But if you look back to 2012, when he put his first video out, his videos, the intention wasn't even necessarily even there, but the foundation had to get started somewhere. It's a snowballing effect. And I'm not talking about snowballing in the Clerks movie reference. I'm talking about taking a small ball of snow and rolling it on the snow so that it expands and expands and expands and picks up more and more and more. It's one of these things where, like, you know, I understand there's folks that they don't want to be bothered with putting out long form content or having a YouTube channel or something else. So don't make Instagram your thing. Just take a shit ton of pictures. You know, especially if you're a kayak angler, you've got the tool you need to get it done in your hands, dummy. Like, it's right there. Just take a bunch of pictures. And go for it and engage. Use your account. Engage, comment, and like, and you know, and work that algorithm. This isn't something that takes an ungodly amount of time to get success with. You know, it's just one of those things where you just have to give it enough care and acknowledgement to know that, like, well, that's where those sponsorships come from. That's where the compensation comes from. Because you caught a great fish and catched a check, but nobody fucking knows about it because it's not on television.
Yep. Now you've caught a fish, catch a check, and you're turning to your audience and saying, I caught this shit
on this little piece of shit right here. That's what I caught this on. You can buy it.
Bobby Roast Beef's Wiggler.
Yeah.
Yep.
But that's the whole thing. And I think that that what we have planned is sort of a great way to jumpstart that collaboration effort, you know? And we want to see this kind of evolve. Before I get into that, though, I want to get some of these comments in here from our jig heads. Ellie chimes in. She goes, I started Brian Latimer's YouTube channel. He's got a great YouTube channel. It's great. I love B-Lat stuff. She says, I kept telling him to stick with it, and he had 120 subscribers. He stuck to it, and it shows. It definitely does. I mean, 100% it does. Like, his channel is great. There's a lot of value there, but don't sell yourself short either. Like, whatever your platform is, stick to it. Be organic, because somebody is going to learn. You know what blows my mind? We had comments today. It was just this weekend, as a matter of fact. we had a message come in from one of our listeners who was just like, he had asked my advice about like meeting people on the water and like getting out there and like all that stuff. And he kept saying, he's like, oh yeah, listen to your show and all this great education and the tips and everything. I think of this show, and that the last thing I think of is we actually give people real fishing value. I'm like, we just freaking talk about dick and fart jokes.
Well, I'm going to disagree on that because I've kind of bared my methods. I never get exact, but I always say, I never get exact with stupid like lures and colors. That's
angler. Too much. Yeah.
But I've definitely tried to educate people. I mean, that's the thing. Like, no matter how much I look at it and how I've improved as an angler, nobody does what I do. And I'm telling everybody, do it.
Yeah.
It helps, but nobody does it. No one wants to take 30 seconds or not even 30 seconds. No one wants to take 5 to 10 seconds after every fish and write the information down.
Yeah.
It will help.
Oh, no, 100% it will. But that's what I'm saying is the perception of what I see when we do this show. It's like, I'm like, really? You guys get stuff out of this? I mean, it's great, but like, it just sort of, I guess I just want it to be something that intrinsically sort of happens. Like it's organic. It comes from us having discussions and everything else. And, I've learned things, and I suppose that's really what it gets down to, is that I've learned a lot of things. And I suppose in the same way that I have learned things with this show going on, other folks are also learning as well. Let's just jump on here. Gravy chimes in and he says, I tried the whole YouTube and video me fishing, but then delete it because I can't stand hearing my voice.
Good. Neither can we.
Wow.
I'm sorry, Gravy. You teed that up.
I can tell you this much, Gravy. Who says that you need to even talk? Delete the audio, and put notes. Do it in pictures. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to do the same thing that somebody else is doing. Like, you innovate, figure out a way that you can do it, or work on a collaboration. Do your fishing, write a script, send it to me, and I voice it. Something like that. Everybody loves this voice.
It's time for Fishing with Gravy and your smooth jazz.
Smooth jazz. Calming down those largemouth bass the only way that John the Fisherman knows how.
And we'll talk a little bit more about Gravy when we get to tournament time.
We will.
Congratulations.
Yeah, he's got some congrats coming. Loaded Potato chimes in and he says, I'm waiting for Sean's duck quesadillas and the B-side of Kenwood. What the fuck am I doing?
It's one of those, don't indie labels still do that where they'll have a band. It'll be like a combo single where.
Like a split?
A split. Yeah, exactly. Yep. All right. So there we go. We'll have a split. Me and Ken will get working on that.
And Ellie nails it. She says, the only way social media ever work for you is to just be yourself. It's funny. I have the same conversation in the trivia world too. I have people contact me all the time asking like, hey, so what are you doing for this? What are you doing? How do you keep people entertained? How are you promoting your stuff? And I'm like, just do what you do naturally. Like, you just have to let people know about it, and it takes time. It's not like I can say, oh, you need to type these things, and it just happens, or everybody shows up at my events because I do this thing this one way. And I'm like, no, people show up because I'm having fun, because I have a good time, and they have a good time, that's the whole idea.
That's why we're doing this show, man. You and I are laughing and having a good time about this, and generally, just like I said, with the motorboating between the two worlds, you're always picking up fishing stuff from me because of my experience, and I am constantly picking up multimedia experience from you because of your experience. Like, we work together that way, and it's good. And I think it can work for more people than us. You know what I mean?
It's true. Gravy chimes in. Ellie says, you may hate your voice, but no one else does. And Gravy chimes in. He goes, Ellie, I started listening to my episode on Jigs and Bigs and I cringe. Gravy, I'm going to share something with you, man. This is how long it takes. When I was 12, 13, as a kid, all I wanted to do was work in radio. That was it. So as a kid, I would record these tapes with my friends and I would mix music and stuff and everything. And I would listen back. Like years later, I found some of these and I was like, all right, I got to maybe I should just work at like a factory or something like that because this is not going to work.
Why have we not heard these tapes?
Yeah, they don't exist anymore. They're long gone. Oh. Yeah, they're long gone. And I hated my voice. And then I got to, a couple years later, I started DJing. And I would do school events, college events and stuff like that. And it was just, I hated my voice. I absolutely hated it. And people would say, oh my God, you have the voice that's made for this. And I'm like, I just didn't have the comfort to be able to grab a microphone and just talk candidly. The key to make that happen is just to not stop doing it. That's the only way you can do it. Just you grab a microphone and you're like, oh, okay, great. And I'm going to give you another tip. It's way easier to talk to 5,000 people than it is to talk to 5. It just is. That crowd is huge. Like your brain can't do the math. It's like, nope, it's crazy. It's just, you just got to keep doing it, and your voice is fine. There's nothing wrong with your voice. You don't sound like freaking.
You don't sound like somebody we know. Dude.
Oh, wow.
Little shrapnel at Nate. I love Nate.
I think everybody kind of hates their voice at one point or another. I think that's what it is. You don't sound like a 9-year-old Fran Drescher.
You're so right, Bobby. She sounds like a 7-year-old Fran Drescher.
Wow, dude. No. And,
I think. By the way, we missed something during the break. Ellie asked a question we should answer at 8:56 p.m. We are recording this on a Sunday night, folks. I want to, just document this for posterity. Ellie Noel wants to know, does anyone watch this while pooping? I can't answer that, Ellie. I don't know. No one else answered apparently either.
If you do, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts,
I am able to squeeze out a much better soft serve Duke when listening to Jigs and Bigs. Highly recommended, 4 stars.
So let's put our money where our mouth is here. What's the plan? We have kind of come up with a way that is a great sort of way to inspire, we hope, collaboration. And what we've been talking about is we have this great platform with these tournaments, and they're fun. These monthly tournaments are amazing. But we thought about the idea of maybe doing like a team tournament where we took a content creator, a fishing content creator of any stripe. Anybody could do this. And this is twofold. One, it will obviously, because we're running the tournament, we want to have our name be into the mix, and we're looking to grow just like everybody. Sure, there's that. But on top of that, the team would be made up of the subscribers of that content creator. And it would be nationwide. It would be bass only, and it would probably be something like a shorter run. So maybe like we take a chunk, like a long weekend or something. Something like that. We make it just kind of blow up. And we take content creators, they select a team of like 3, 4, 5 different anglers. The folks that are always in your comments, the folks that you've had conversations with that you're like, oh yeah, they can catch some fish. I've seen the stuff that they do. This is great. And kind of form a little bit of a team. This jumps into a lot of the new different features that Fishing Chaos has. So this could be a lot of fun, but we kind of just want to drop the seed there that this is where our head is at right now. And if you're a tournament angler and you are, your challenge for you is creating content, this is an easy way to do that. Same thing with if you're a content creator and you're like, man, I've done all the challenge videos and I've done such and such and I've done, these things, or I got to come up with something new or something fresh. I mean, this is just a great way. Like, you can create amazing content, but to actually engage your subscribers or your followers while fishing, like, you don't have to be in the same physical place. They just fish in their area and enter fish. So it's something that we're kind of thinking about that could be pretty freaking cool. I think this could be a lot of fun. There we go. We're putting our money where our mouth is.
Game on.
Are we doing a May multi-species?
We'll get into that there, Ellie.
Yep.
We gotcha. And unfortunately, we got the answer to my question and Ellie's question. I did not want to know. Gravy does, in fact, take shits and listen to Jigs and Bigs, which sucks.
Nah, it should be, hey. Maybe it's soothing,
Jigs and Bigs, best laxative you can buy.
Or listen to.
Oh.
Yeah, Jesus.
I love it.
let's move on. We have a burning question, don't we?
We do have a burning question.
I teed you up.
You did. We do have a burning question. Let me give you that question right now before I start this. Where the fuck is Joe Brown?
Fuck that guy. Fuck that guy. Fuck that guy.
And I want to make it crystal clear that we are not throwing Joe Brown in the fuck that guy segment directly. No. This goes back to Friday. Albeit a very distressed butcher approaches me and says, "Hey man, have you heard from Joe? We didn't see him at the church. You know, and he's supposed to be here." And I think Sean, you had actually noticed that he wasn't there either.
He was supposed to be sitting at the table with Miguel, myself, and our wives, and a couple other people, and we took advantage, especially me with my long-ass giraffe legs, and spread out and took 2 seats up.
Yeah.
And we didn't give a fuck, and, you know, we were like pirates, and I don't know.
So,
carnies.
When I heard about this, I genuinely got a little concerned. I was like, uh-oh. I'm like, that's not something I would expect to happen. That's shitty. So I texted Joe, and I was genuinely concerned. And then Joe replied, and he was like, "Yeah, our sitter flaked at the last second, and we are shit out of luck. Like, we don't have any childcare, so there's nothing we can do, you know." And I said, "I've been there, man. It sucks. It's part of it." So. Now, he did mention that he was going to try and pop in and try and, put something together. And I was like, they're still in cocktail hour right now. I was like, come on down, if you can make it. I know that they'd love to have you here. It's definitely worth it. So I think that there was some other texting going on back and forth. There was a little bit of talk between myself and the couple about trying to get all of the guests on board with when Joe walked into the room. Everybody just goes, "Where the fuck is Joe Brown?" But Nicole made the decision that was probably not the best move.
That was her day.
That was her day, exactly. And I said, that's fine. I said, because we're going to work something out on the show here. So, Joe did manage to put something together and get down to the reception, which was awesome. But this week's FTG is Joe's babysitter. Now, we're only saying this with the understanding that we know nothing about the situation. We're making a giant blanket assumption here that this was that new Batman movie's pretty good. Fuck that guy. I'm not going to fucking watch his kids. No, that's what we're expecting. If something terrible happened, again, we've got egg on our face, who knows, but fuck that guy.
Where the fuck is Joe Brown?
Where the fuck is Joe Brown? Let alone who the fuck is Joe Brown? This poor guy can't get a break.
And it was funny because, Joe and I are both...
He's such a good sport,
Yeah, Joe and I are both veterans, and we know ball busting in and out. It's just we breathe ball busting, right? And no matter what he said, I would just smile and say, at least I was fucking here on time. And he would just put his head down.
Ellie chimes in, says, FTB, fuck that babysitter. Not
said,
literally.
Fuck that babysitter, not literally.
Not literally.
But if you... Oh, never mind. I was going to have a dark path right there.
There was... Turns were made, decisions.
Yep.
So that's what we have lined up for this week for our FTG is that whole babysitter scenario. But it was great that Joe was able to make it, and I know Ryan and Nicole were very happy, and everything worked out. Everybody was freaking happy.
It was good. It was nice to see Joe and Meg there. We had a blast.
Definitely, they're great. They're amazing. Good stuff. Sturbridge was in the house, big time. Friday night.
Yeah.
They were. It was good. It was very good. We got tournament time lined up. Are you ready for this?
Start the different wedding music.
It's true. Dothraki wedding music.
Dothraki style. There we go. All right. I'm going to start off a little differently today. I got a message from Scott Wood, a member of Maniac anglers up there in Maine. They got their season started. I just wanted to relay real quick. Last week they started at, well, no, it was this weekend. It was Saturday. It was Square Pond. And of note, our favorite wood down here in Massachusetts, Ken, went up there to fish his knockout match at the same time against Jason Gardner. Like, I don't know all the details, but my understanding is Ken had some vehicle and or boat problems, and ended up saying, "Fuck this! I'm going up there. I'm doing this with an old kayak, no electronics, minimal gear." He went super old school, and unfortunately, Ken did not fare well against Mr. Gardner. So congratulations to Jason for advancing to the next round. Looks like, you know, Ken had to do what Ken had to do, and just didn't turn out that way. So the tournament ended up with Jake Angulas finishing first. Second place was Brody. Was it Brady or Brody? Brady, pardon me. Willette. And third place is Ben Levine. So congrats to those three guys up in Maine. Glad to see you guys got your season started. I can't find on the page who got the lunker. Yeah. It looks like the guys caught a lot of smallmouth. I'm not seeing a lunker. I see it. I see Brady finished with a 20.5. That's the only length I saw, but that's a hell of a smallmouth.
Yeah, that's a big ass smallie.
So, congratulations to those guys. Welcome to spring, Maine. We appreciate you joining us. Good stuff. Still more on time than Joe Brown.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Zing!
Hang on.
All right.
You earned that one.
All right. I got some fun stuff for us for the Jigs and Bigs tournament. We got an update here. Ready for some update? Mr.
I love
Roast
updates.
All right. So right now we have 27, I believe, is the count. Bobby, could you verify that?
I can verify that for you.
I believe we have 27 entrants that I'm aware of. Hopefully nobody else jumped in. At least these are all the scores.
Well, as of
So
the
we have-
15th, nobody could.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
27, yep.
27. Okay,
In a row.
We have 27 entrants. So I misspoke last week. I apologize. I was throwing numbers out and shit because I'm an idiot. We have 4 paying spots on this, plus prizes for all the little side quests we have. Some announced, some unannounced. So we'll be paying out 4 spots for this. Now, the tiebreakers are in the rules. Everybody who's in there, obviously you read the rules. We'll get into that in a minute on rule reading. Not for this tournament, for others. So I'm going to go through the top 4 spots right now. First, second, third. You know what? I'm going to go through the top 3 spots because we have ties at second and third. So not everyone here is going to win money, but we'll get into it. So tied for third place with 5 points. We have Sean Carrier, Derek Artioli, Ryan Fisher, and on the back of her monster carp that she also caught on a Ned rig, Ellie Noel.
Awesome.
Great job. Tied up third place, 5 points each. Good job, everyone. Keep fishing. The more species you catch, the better off you're going to do, and the better chances you have of finishing in the money here. Second place, tied with 6 points. Dan Regan, Joe Mazzaferro, hey, the bearded angler, that's our guy.
Yep.
Cheryl Bentley, and Tim Jakes. Nice job, everyone. Keep it going.
That's tied for second?
That's tied for second with 6 points. So
Freaking
who
wild,
knows?
man.
Yep. And there's a few people. 1, 2, there's... Oh, you know what? I apologize. I missed someone else with 5 points. Brian Tonello. Brian, apology. I left you off that list there, down at the bottom. Brian put on a little bit of a late run this week to get those 5 points. All right. And this should come as no surprise to anyone. This is the mountain that you must all climb in these multi-species tournaments. Jerry Multi-House, 13 points. He has doubled everyone up. Like, if you're going to fish these things and Jerry's in here, you got to know Jerry's out there catching every goddamn fish that swims. Right?
That's true.
Is an animal. So congrats to everyone. You guys are all doing awesome. Keep the fish coming in. Bobby's just so excited to judge. It's amazing. He calls me up telling me he's judging nowadays. It's fucking great.
It makes me feel good. You know, it's my happy place.
Excellent.
It totally is.
And we have some upcoming news. As of appropriately 420, The Chronic Trips May tournament is open for registration. I'm going to say this here with the hope that people read the rules. I don't have expectation of it, but I hope. The rules, with one exception, are the same as Jigs and Bigs. Bobby and Seth and I have chit-chatted over this numerous times. I'm the middleman on this. I was going to make a really bad analogy. It was gross. I'm not going to say what I was going to say. Because everyone will throw up, including myself. Bobby and Seth and I have talked, and we think that to make it easier on myself doing most of the judging, the rules are all going to be the same. If you're doing Chronic Trips, get a catch board. The big difference is, and this is what sets the two apart, Chronic Trips has saltwater species. Jigs and Bigs is freshwater only.
Yep.
Okay. That should not be an intimidating factor to anyone. I mean, I went out and did well, a couple times in 2 years ago without catching any saltwater species, and there were plenty turned in.
Yeah.
So it's not an impossible mountain, but I should note, Jerry Multi-House was not in those tournaments 2 years ago, so I may have had it easy.
That's true. That's very true.
Yep. So Chronic Trips, same price as Jigs and Bigs, month long, May. Please jump in. They'll have some side prizes on the side, and hope to see everyone who jumped in on Jigs and Bigs jump in over there. And especially if you have saltwater species available, then just more fish to catch.
Go for it. Yeah.
Yeah. Killer. So also, I should mention, Bobby, I'm going to pull back my little fisherman beef curtain here, right?
Okay.
We're ready to go. We're set through all the rest of the summer. I did all the freaking admin. I took a day and sat down in front of my GD computer, and I got everything set up. We're set up through October. So 2 weeks before every one of these tournaments starts, so midway through the month, you'll be able to register for the next Jigs and Bigs or Chronic Trips from now until October.
Yeah.
So it's ready to go, and everyone will stay open until midway through the month. So every 15th, the registration closes. The opening is variable. I tried to time it so that we would open on the show 2 weeks prior to the start of the tournament. So some, the days aren't perfect, but it's usually at least 14 or 15 days for everyone.
It's pretty awesome. I like it.
Yeah, we're ready. We're ready to go, folks. We're set up. Please come fish with us. It's good shit. Now, I'm going to go off the top of my head on this. The first round of the knockout tournament, a lot of the matchups have been completed, maybe a little bit over half. And this weekend was most of them. Obviously, I think we talked about it last weekend. I advanced. There was it was almost like a pick'em matchup between Nelson and Gerard Elias.
Mm-hmm.
And we all remember Gerard, the man who saved my pants.
Oh yeah, saved your pants.
Nelson and Gerard went out, and Gerard got the win. So it was obviously sad to bid Nelson adieu from the tournament, but congrats to Gerard. I mean, that was like I said, that was a pick'em. That's when you look at it like two anglers that are really good and just almost evenly matched, and just Gerard had the day. It happens these ways.
That's tournament fishing.
Yep. Big congratulations to his first knockout tournament win. Our guy right here.
Yeah.
I've been giving shit to for 20 minutes. Eric Graves, Gravy Fishing. Congratulations on your first round win.
Nice job, dude. Excellent job.
That was awesome. And then here's the one we really got to talk about.
Yeah.
We really got to talk about this one. I wanted to save this one for the end. I tried to keep it as, folks who have been involved in the show.
Sure.
And done well.
Yep.
Let me throw this one in too. I almost forgot before we get into this big one. John Medina and Rennell Mullen, they had their first round matchup, which was a rematch from last year, and John got past him. So congrats to John.
Nice.
Yeah, great job on that. Now, there was some chit chat going on about this other one. And
Oh, there was.
I had nothing to do with this. All I could do was report on this.
Yeah.
All right. Nate Shagnon, our good buddy Nate from the other side of the state. Nate got matched up with Wild Bill OG, original Hookset Hoodlum. OG Hoodlum, right? There was a Hookset Hoodlum podcast, and unfortunately I did not get to check out, but I heard there was some talking going on.
Oh, there was some talking. There's been talking ongoing. Like
there was some gums flapping. I don't know if was it one side, was it both sides, was it?
I think it was both sides. Like because with the two of them, I see. I didn't see the Hoodlum cast. I don't think I saw the one that you're talking about, but knowing both of those two dudes, once one started, I'm sure the other one followed.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Well, Wild Bill and Nate faced off, and it was, I'm sorry, Bill, it wasn't close. So obviously the rules are different this year, different bodies of water, but Nate kind of ran away with it.
Oh, I thought they were on the same body.
No.
No? Oh, all right.
They didn't even fish in the same state. Yeah. So congrats to Nate. Good job. You moved on. Bill, take it from Sean the Fisherman. Never, ever talk shit before you get into a matchup on the knockout tournament. You give praise. You give praise. I don't know who I'm facing, man. I hope I have a good day. I suck. They're good. I hope I have a good day. And then you don't look bad. It's all right. I love Bill. He did threaten my life last night over the.
He did
over congratulating Nate. I was just trying to be positive. I'm like, good job, Nate. And I was told I was dead to Bill. And then I said, "Go Celtics," and he's like, "All right, you're forgiven.
Yeah,
you're alive. You're alive again." So
there you go.
That's all I got tournament wise. I mean, we covered it. Chronic Trips is coming up. Jigs and Bigs is winding down. We got a week left in Jigs and Bigs. Get out there, folks. We gotta get some separation here for second, third, and fourth place. And maybe somebody could take a stab at Jerry House. I mean, he's in a good position right now, but how the mighty can tumble. And this tournament can be a meat grinder, especially getting into that last week. So, especially with the last week being April into May. Yeah. Who knows what's going to happen with the weather? Stuff could be warming up in certain parts that haven't been viable for the past 3 weeks. Yeah, and now they could be producing huge. Yep, exactly. So. Thanks for everybody for jumping in on this April tournament. I'll say it again next week too. But like I said, I hope we see you guys for the Chronic Trips. This is fun. People are having a good time with it. I love it. I think the sense of community and everything, and I think even going back to like we were talking, just the tip, like that collaboration idea. This is a great opportunity to see it grow even further. And I mean, the monthlies are amazing. But if we could do something in focus like that, it's just going to be amazing. I'm so excited to see what we can come up with. Yeah. But you know what? Going back to the collaboration thing, that's what the example I brought up was with efficiency of tournament fishing. And I had said at the time, if I'm not doing the multi-species tournaments this year, that my tournament docket is a little different this year. I'm only doing in-persons. But I had said I'd be in the running for this. I might even be close to challenging Jerry because I just from bycatching as being a bass fisherman. You know what I mean? I got pickerel checked off. I got crappie. I got perch. I got trout. That was a rare one. Trout was unusual. Largemouth, smallmouth. I mean, just going out and being a competitive bass angler, you're gonna have bycatch, and you might as well have it work for you. Exactly, make it work for you. So that's all I got, buddy. What do we got? What do we got next here? Well, we are going to wrap this sucker up and put a little bow on this bad boy. I believe, anyway. Let me double check my notes in case I'm missing something here. I think we're good. We got the efficiency competitive anglers. Yeah, we are good, man. Knockout stuff. Ooh, do we do some whoring now or later? Well, I kind of give a little tidbit in segment number 1. We'll save it for segment 3. Whoring later. Got it. I love it. Guys, go ahead and we'll be back after this quick message. Don't go too far. Jigs and Bigs is proud to announce that we're being supported by Three Bells Outfitters. Located in Smith Cove on the Niantic River, TBO is Connecticut's premier paddle sports retailer. They're a full-service shop specializing in kayaks and paddleboards for everything from recreation to tournament fishing. Three Bells is an authorized dealer of Hobie, Jackson, Feel Free, Native, and Bonafide kayaks, as well as many paddleboard brands. Not sure of what kind of SUP or kayak you want? TBO offers free demos of all
Bell brands. Want to go for an extended test drive? They have a full-service rental facility on site. Three Bells also offers a complete rigging service for your kayak with such brands as Yak Attack, Yak Gear, Burley Pro, Yak Power, Torpedo, and more. The sky is the limit. You can visit Three Bells Outfitters in person or online at threebellsoutfitters.com. They ship anywhere in the lower 48 states or order online and pick up at the store. Can't make it to the store to pick up your kayak or worried the freight company might damage your purchase? Three Bells Outfitters offers a white glove delivery of kayaks within a 225-mile radius of their store at a rate less than typical freight carriers. They will deliver your kayak, set it up, and answer any questions you may have. Be sure to follow them on Facebook and Instagram. Don't forget to tell them Jigs and Biggs sent you. Three Bells Outfitters, because life is better on the water. We're back, guys. Jigs and Biggs, segment number 3. You know, I got to tell you, I listened to last week's show, and we're kind of going back and forth with a couple of guests, nailing down dates to record. We got some good stuff that's coming, and yeah, so we got some really, really good guests actually that are lined up. That shit that I wish I could have booked like 2 years ago. Crazy, but it's just a matter of like getting the schedules together. So once that all kind of comes together and we get that going, you'll have info about it after we record. That's usually when I like to drop who's going to be showing up. So, but I listened back to last week's show, and I thoroughly enjoyed that last segment. I mean, we had a good time with it. No interview for that entire show, but it was dynamite. Like, it was just a great show all the way around. So hopefully you guys got all of that goodness, absorbed that in your ear holes yourselves and all that. Good stuff lined up. We have some fun stuff lined up for you guys this summer.
We can only hope the audience turned off their radio, cell phone, whatever they were listening on, covered in Jigs and Biggs jizz ropes.
I'm sure. And while we're on that topic, I don't think there's ever been any one term that I've gotten so much feedback on from multiple listeners as jizz ropes.
I thought it's a disgusting term.
Oh,
but I thought it was somewhat
it is
commonplace.
Vile. I'm like, but you know what? Not the thing is, I don't think there was anybody that didn't know what the hell you were talking about at the same time. Like, they're just like, what? There were many people that struck a chord with a lot of listeners.
How many wives, girlfriends, family members, etc. said, "This is a fishing podcast you're listening to? Turn it off."
It amazes me. Like, put it this way, guys, especially if you're married, you've got a long-term girlfriend, and they're aware of the show that you listen to for your weekly fishing entertainment and information as well, and they're still with you. Lock that down, because so many people. Show I think would just weed out like, nope, not here, not ever.
Jizz ropes.
But somehow, some way, like, we managed to entertain, and in some of the most vile ways possible. But we mentioned some reviews last week. Reviews for the show are huge. There's 2 main platforms that you can really kind of review us on. You can give us a full detail review if you listen on Apple Podcasts. Just go over there. You can rate the show, and you can write a little review there. We like to go every few months and kind of go through them and grab a couple of images and post them and let people kind of know what people have to say about our stuff, even if it's critical. Like, we like to kind of put it all out there. And then on Spotify, there is a way for you to be able to go ahead and rate the show. If you just search for Jigs and Biggs on Spotify, you'll find us. We're everywhere you want to be. You go ahead and just look up Jigs and Biggs, and there's a star rating that's right below the main description there. We've got 13 ratings already. 13 people have rated us, and we still have a 4.9.
Yes.
It is wonderful. That's pretty awesome. So we're in a good spot. 4.9 out of 5. I will take it. I will take it. I think Elise came up with a genius plan. Jizz ropes. Make it a shirt.
Oh, we'd have to be real creative about that because we kind of keep things at a level.
Oh,
what
I know.
mean?
Maybe it would have to be a limited edition, you know? Maybe it'll be like a button-down Western-style shirt with tassels that hang from the sleeves.
Like
those will be the...
Spider-Man's armpit webs.
Yeah, like that. Like something like that, where it's not so over the top with the words necessarily, but in the description we'll write it as saying, oh, this, going out for a night on the town, go out with your fancy jigs and bigs button down with the jizz ropes. Fuck.
Hey, give me a minute. I got to tie down to the dock with the old jizz ropes.
Oh my goodness.
You know how to tie a double sheep shank?
You know how to tie a double? You ever try to tie a double sheep shank with perch eggs? Not fun. Not fun.
This conversation has led to the jig heads apparently losing their minds, and it's just been nothing but semen comments, just as long as you can see. Yeah, oh, there you go. See, Ellie pops in again.
Yeah.
Oh, Fish in the Stick says we should sell all this shit at Spencer's. Nelson bass wrapped in a pearl necklace. Tackle Box Breakdown is shitting themselves. Ellie's calling us both geniuses, and Nelson apparently too. I don't know what's happening.
Nelson just gave me the most amazing idea for a t-shirt. Jigs and Bigs t-shirt with a bass that's dressed like a housewife, clutching her pearls, going, "Oh my word!" And we make it a not safe for work shirt.
That's pretty good.
I like that idea, Nelson. Yeah, we're cutting you in.
Yep,
we're cutting you in. The check is in the mail. I like it.
Shifting gears before we go.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I would like to ask you, Bobby Roast Beef. This is off the cuff. You don't know this is.
I don't know. This
is heading your way. I would like to know if you think it's time for us to open up a mailbag at some point. So maybe we should get some questions. Remember we had a Q&A last year, the year before, and it was fun?
That was really good. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. We should do that.
People,
we should do that.
Send questions. jigsandbigs413@gmail.com. Send us some shit. We'll give it a while. We'll let this stew and simmer, so don't expect the shit to go on right away.
Yeah, we're not going to go flying all freaking, we're not shitting hot knives here. We're going to take some time and think about this stuff and then let it go. And
we're not going off all willy-nilly.
Exactly. I'm not all running around like a whirling dervish up in here. You guys are going to you come and play ball, throw us some questions and we'll go for it.
Those are fun. We haven't done one of those in a while. It's been a long time.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. That is a great idea.
Can be about anything, within reason. I kind of, I think we.
I mean, obviously, we'll deflect some stuff if it's like, clearly, because deflection is what we do.
That's how we go. That's how we roll.
That's how we roll, guys. We do have some fairly large announcements for our listeners. One of these large announcements is coming real soon, and it's going to save you some cash. And it's going to save all of our listeners some cash. But if you're one of our jig heads, it'll save you even more cash. So if you're interested in becoming a jig head, it's easy to do. What is a jig head? A jig head is simple. We have a Jigs and Bigs Patreon. It's basically a club. We call those folks our jig heads. You subscribe there. It's $5 a month. We have a limited amount of slots that you can jump in on. And what it does is gives you early content during the recordings. So when we reference our jig heads and we put them in the comments and things like that, they're seeing a live stream of this as we record it. And we're able to engage with them back and forth in the show through the comments that they put on here. It's a whole lot of fun. It's a great way to kind of take your enjoyment of the show to that next level if this is something that you're into. It's also a great way to drive your spouse crazy on a Sunday evening. And we also like to sneak in some extras in there every once in a while when they come up. And one of the things that we have been playing around with is acknowledging the fact that we have an amazing audience of Jig Heads that are longtime, supporters and subscribers, and they help us get this shit done. And this is our way of like kind of kicking them a little bit extra, and I think it's pretty good. In fact, we may even see more of these benefits rolling out sooner rather than later. So always very, very cool.
Hear that, Jig Heads? We're your friends with benefits.
That's true.
Jeez, ropes.
It's Ellie chimes in. She goes, "Shitting hot knives literally just made me clench." So that's apparently like an old saying. The Chickabee Chet had thrown around previously in years past. Shitting hot knives.
And then he pronounced battery like battery.
Battery. I'm shitting hot knives, and then I lick this battery. It's not a good time. Would not recommend. Would not recommend.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my goodness.
Let's go back to kielbasa country. Let's get out of here.
Yeah, let's go.
We've done enough damage to the world.
We have. Guys, thank you so much for checking out this amazing show. And we hope you're killing it out there. If you're in our monthly online tournament series, go out there and catch some fish. You guys have a great, unbelievable opportunity here as we start creeping closer and closer to May. Things could really fire up for you, and I hope that they do. I would love to see this be the most amazing week yet. I'm planning on getting out on the water and having a great time doing so. My round number 1 in the knockout is in the process of being scheduled. We're going to see what happens, guys. It's going to be an amazing spring. It's going to be a lot of fun. Make sure that you guys, if you do one thing, make sure that you take good care of yourselves, catch some fish, and like we always say,
tits and ass, smoke some grass.
When you wake up in the morning and the light has hurt your head, the first thing you do when you get up out of bed is hit that streets a running and try to beat the masses. Go get yourself some cheap sunglasses. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Spied a little thing and I followed her all night in a funky fine Levi's and her sweater's kinda tight. She had a West Coast strut that was sweet as molasses. But what really knocked me out was the cheap sunglasses. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Now go out and get yourself some thick black frames with the glass so dark they won't even know your name. And the choice is up to you, cause they come in two classes, rhinestone shades or cheap sunglasses.